The Honda Civic Si is back. This 2022 Honda Civic is redesigned. We're going to take a detailed look at the exterior, the interior, get it out on the road and take it for a test drive, because for under $30,000, this is a fun, practical, sporty car that's a great value under $30,000. Hey, real quick, thank you so much for watching. My name is Nolan. I do full reviews like this every single week, but also, so I don't waste your time, if you want to skip around, go to the bottom of the timeline or in the description below where you can see different parts of the video and skip around to whatever it is that you want to see. But also, if you're interested in more than just this Civic Si, I've got the Civic Touring down below, a couple different videos of that, so be sure to check it out. But let's go ahead and jump in. All right, now let's take a look at the exterior. And first of all, I love this paint. I'll talk more about that in a second, but this is the redesigned 2022 Civic. Even this Si comes back with a hiatus from 2021. Now right up front, this is where a big change comes with the Civic. It still has similar resemblance to before, but it's a cleaner, simpler, more modern looking front end, and you've got a little bit of a honeycomb style grille up front, the Si badge, and you're gonna get these LED daytime running lights floating right up above the headlight and full LED high and low beams. In the front, it looks like there would be fog lights, but we don't have any on this Si trim. But look at that blinker, so full LED blinker up here as well. And if you want to see a night review of this Civic, be sure to look in the description below where I show off how well the LED headlights look and some of the interior ambient lighting. Now the paint color on this Civic Si is the blazing orange pearl, and I really like it. It's something unique, it's something different. It's not an obnoxious orange, it's just a very pretty orange. Let me know what you think of it down below. The Si even gets its own special wheels. We've got these 18-inch matte black wheels, and this is the HPT, so we have high performance tires, which are 235/40 series. Instead of chrome accents all over the place, there's a lot of black, like the mirror, the window sills, all of that. And dimensionally, it's 184 inches long. So this is fun size, but big enough to haul people and stuff around. And the Si has a retuned suspension, stiffer springs, and a thicker anti-roll bar. The Civic gives us a more fastback design here, and look at this black deck lid spoiler as well. It's a glossy black. You will get LED taillights, but you've got an incandescent bulb, regular bulb in there. And one thing that I like is the dual exhaust outlet for this Si specifically back here. I think that looks pretty nice. Then you got the Si badging as well. Now, cargo space in the Si might not be your main concern, but if you do haul some stuff around, you're covered. With the smart key, you've got a little touchpad right there. It pretty much pops up by itself. And back here, you get 14.5 cubic feet. So this is actually a really nice, spacious trunk, considering the class and the overall size of the vehicle. You also have pull tabs if you want to fold down the second row seats and put some long stuff in there. It's a 60/40 split, but you've got really good space in the corners. The only thing, there's no like cargo net hook or grocery bag hook or anything like that, but still really spacious. Under here, to save weight, you get a tire inflator kit. No spare tire, but you could probably take this out and put one in there if you wanted to. Now, Honda still gives you the smart key with push button start for this Si, but there's no remote start because we have the manual transmission. Just like other Hondas, you have the lines on the door to lock it or the sensor in the back to unlock it, and it has the walk away auto lock. So if you shut the door, walk away, it'll automatically lock. But a quick look inside. So first of all, over on the door, you're gonna get this red pattern on the door. You've got some red stitching running along the armrest. You've got a hard material up here, but this is soft, the armrest is soft, and you got a pretty big bottle holder. Now the seats are Si specific sporty seats. You even have Si embroidered into them. Look at this red interior with this red stitching coming around here. What do you think of that? Both seats get that same treatment. And look at the bolsters. You got the side bolstering, you've got the bottom bolstering. The seats are comfortable. There's just one complaint that I'll share in a second. So it's all manual adjustments, which, you know, I don't really expect a ton at this price point, but you've got height adjustment on here as well. So you've got regular manual controls and height adjustment. There's just no lumbar support adjustment. I always complain about the Civic not having lumbar support, but for the audience of this car and most buyers, it probably won't be a problem. These seats are comfortable for the most part. One other thing, if you're looking for heated seats in the Si, you don't get them, at least not in the US. No heated seats. Now the back seat is still a spacious place to be. In a small little sporty car like this, you're not going to be punished if you're in the back seat. Of course, you're going to have a hard material up here, but you still get a soft armrest and some hard material here still. So some cheapness on the door, but you still get a bottle holder. And the Civic is actually quite spacious in the back seat. You can see I even have a car seat here with that front seat close to where I'd like to sit, and there's still room. So I'm 5'9", sitting behind myself, and full disclosure, I have this seat a little bit further forward than I normally would in a non-manual transmission, but with the manual, I like to sit just a little bit closer. But I still have really good foot space, good knee space, good space in the middle and for the passenger. One nice thing is you get a fold down armrest with a couple cup holders, and I can still even sit up tall without my head touching or anything like that. Small car, big space inside. The only thing, you won't find air conditioning vents or charging ports back here. I'm gonna kind of roll through this SI interior, but if you have not seen the newest Civic interior, it's quite a bit different. It's more modern, kind of mainstream. You've got this matching honeycomb on the dash like you do up in the front grille. It is push button start, and we got the manual. Put on the brake. There we go. You got a digital display up there and a larger display over here. So the first thing I want to say is that the pedal over here has a really nice distinct bite point, and our shifter is leather wrapped up here. It's got a really nice feel, and they're even 10% shorter throws than before. I mean, this car is just really comfortable to drive. It's got a nice pattern, short throws. Really have no trouble with this. I don't drive a manual hardly ever unless I get one from a press car, and this one is fun and a breeze to drive. So up front, you've got the red stitching inside the steering wheel, which is also leather wrapped. Right up front, you got a digital cluster on the left and then analog on the right. And using your steering wheel, you can scroll through quite a range of information, including your turbo gauge, navigation. You can even see a little bit more performance-oriented stuff too. Then coming over here, you've got this tablet style, kind of looks like the Accord. This is a 9-inch touchscreen that's standard on this SI. You still get a couple physical buttons. It's nice to see a volume knob, some tuning arrows over here. The screen works just fine. It's nothing super advanced, but it's easy to use, and there's quite a bit of customizable features on here too. Another nice thing is that we have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And yes, I said wireless. You do not have to be plugged in anywhere at all. There's just no wireless charging. The other cool thing, this has the Bose audio system. So Bose in a Civic, and yes, it does sound nice. Right down here, the Civic Si even gives you automatic temperature control. It's not dual zone, it's just a single zone automatic, but you've got automatic temperature control. You can still manually control it and change the modes and all that very easily with these dials here. And do you hear that? It's got some nice little click feedback. If you want to be plugged in, you've got 2 charging ports and a 12-volt power outlet, plus a nice little storage area with a rubber mat. Drive modes are right here. It's just a flick of a button for normal, sport, and individual. With the individual drive mode, you basically change the steering and the engine responsiveness. So you can beef up the steering a little bit or whatever you want to do, or you can just go into straight sport mode if you want to go all out. There is auto stop start on here, which is a little frustrating with a manual, but you can get rid of it with that. Electronic parking brake and brake hold, even with our manual. One thing I gotta say I appreciate in the Civic is that this is not a bunch of glossy black plastic. It's actually got a little bit of texture to it. It's probably gonna look better for a longer period of time than the regular glossy black. And you've got good size cup holders. Civic is always good with that. I wish that they could maybe be just a little bit over, but it's a small car. They don't really bother me or get in the way too much when I'm trying to shift, so that's a good thing. And they're really good size. Nice cloth, soft armrest, not a ton of room for your elbow, but you got red stitching, lift it up, and then you've got some extra storage inside of here. It's definitely a different design than the previous generation, but it still works. There's no automatic dimming mirror in this SI, but look up overhead. You even get LED lighting, but you also get ambient lighting that comes out of here. Be sure to check out my night video if you want to check that out. And to top it off, you still get a sunroof in this Civic Si. Now under the hood, things are updated a little bit for this Civic Si, and this is what makes it stand out a little more compared to the regular Civic. So right here, we still get the direct injected high output 1.5 liter VTEC turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. It's going to give you 200 horsepower and 192 pound-feet of torque. The big news is that this torque comes out a little earlier now, which we'll see in the test drive, still with the 6-speed manual transmission and front-wheel drive only. Miles per gallon is still good, not quite as good as the regular Civic, but with this performance, 27 city, 37 highway, can't complain about that. And if you're curious about fuel, premium fuel is recommended, but it is not required. All right, y'all, let's get behind the wheel of this Civic Si. So, like I said, we've got the manual, we've got that turbo up there, we've just got a fun little driving package right here. But first of all, this does have Honda sensing. So you've got the radar cruise control, the automatic emergency braking, lane keeping system, even blind spot indicators. All of the safety features you'd probably expect on all these new Hondas now come standard on this SI. Now, as we get going in this SI, I just want to kind of give you a point of view driving experience, because this car is just so fun to drive. If you want to see what the other Civics are like to drive, be sure to look in the description below. But this manual and this clutch, they're both just very smooth, very easy. I did not drive the previous SI, so I don't have experience with that. But the throws on this shifter are just so nice and so smooth. The bite point on the clutch is just perfect. For someone that doesn't hardly ever drive a manual, I love driving this car. So that says a lot. Now, one thing to note is that the ride comfort is going to be a little stiffer in here compared to the regular Civic. The steering's a little bit different, so there's just a little different dynamic. It's got more torque, it's got more horsepower. It's just more fun. And when you get on it sometimes and you let go, you can really start to hear a whistle come out of here. Gets you up to speed pretty quick, and it's fun to drive, and it's just so smooth. You've got quick handling, quick steering. I'm gonna actually put us in sport mode now. The steering spiffens up a little bit. Even though you're in charge of the gears, you still get a fun experience. And this does have rev matching too, and the torque comes out early. Very flat around the corners. Holding the RPMs, no problem. It's got a little bit of sound to it. Get on the brake a little bit. The brakes are also nice and responsive, but this car just feels very well planted. I mean, I'm really impressed with that, that's for sure. In fact, let's go down even more. Woo! It can hug the corner pretty well. I'm actually impressed. And you get more horsepower later in the RPM range too. The red line is all the way about 6,500. I mean, this car is really fun for this price point, I've got to say. And for me, without the manual experience like a lot of people, it's just still easy to drive. Ergonomics in here is also really good. I like where the screen is. I like the controls and everything down here. It's just a complete package, I would say, for a daily little sports car, if you want to call it a sports car, under 30,000. And the torque is legit. I mean, there's definitely some turbo lag, but the torque is no joke out of here for a little car like this. I am pretty comfortable in here. I sit a little closer than I normally do in manuals compared to automatics, just because I like to have a nice close proximity to the clutch. But otherwise, the interior, easy to live with, no problems with that. Cup holders are good. All the controls, the displays, very nice. I wish we had a couple options to add a couple things to this SI, but if you're looking for more luxury features or some specific features, you can go with the Civic Touring and still get a pretty good amount of stuff and good torque and power out of that as well. Now, the one fault of the Civic that I complained about before is something that pretty much probably any Civic buyer of the past is going to complain about: the road noise. I used to own a 2013 Civic, and the road noise was atrocious. Even on an LX base model with the smaller wheels, it just doesn't even matter. The road noise is just not good. Most aren't in this class, but if you're looking for something premium, the Mazda 3 is definitely quieter than this is. But if that doesn't matter, then who cares? Let's go ahead and wrap things up. So to wrap things up on this 2022 Honda Civic Si, it's got all the fun that you'd expect. It's got an updated, more modern interior, a different look, and still the same fun but improved driving dynamics and that manual transmission, all for under $30,000. So what do you think of this 2022 Si? Is the redesign everything you hoped for? Obviously we have the sedan, no coupe, no hatchback with this Si. You can go for the Type R coming out if you want, but this Si still offers a lot in terms of fun, practicality, and performance. For under $30,000, it's hard to beat this. Let me know what you think down below if you would spend your money on this. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out my non-Si Civic reviews in the description below. Thank you so much. Have a great day.